Good morning. I'm glad to be here to talk to you today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is how high school writing actually helps you write a novel, or write a blog, or write a song, or really anything of that sort. And here's how. You learned in high school to write the three-part essay, introduction, body, conclusion. And within each of those, you learned to write with your subpoints. For example, you have your finger, which is your essay, and then you have your first knuckle, second knuckle, third knuckle, and they all compose that paragraph or that topic. But you learned to break down your ideas into bits and pieces. But now you get out to novel writing and you read through all these books, like I just finished The Scorpio Races, great book. But you read through all of these and you go, how does what I did in class translate over into what I want to do now while I'm writing a book? And how do other people make it seem so flawless? How do they know where to put the chapter breaks? Think about it this way. What if just one thing happened per chapter? Just one thing. Your first chapter is your character wakes up and discovers they have a destiny. Second chapter is they go back to bed because they don't want this destiny. Third chapter is, and you can do things like that. That's actually a lot of how I ended up writing my own novel, Mather's Odds. I had this idea that I wanted to finish every single chapter like the line was worthy of a mic drop. And so I knew I couldn't do too many things in the chapter because what stuck with people at the end of the chapter was that one line. And I wanted them to remember that one line. So I could only do one thing per chapter. And I found that was an easy way to outline my next few novel ideas that I've got going, my blog stories that you'll find, for example, City of Hyrule, my fan fiction, or My Family Butler, which was an original story that you'll find on my blog, Gestaltic Ocean. But I decided if I do one thing per chapter, and then I break up that one thing into the smaller things that happen around it. For example, guy goes to rescue his girlfriend. That's going to happen in, I don't know, 1, 2, maybe 3 chapters. But in one chapter, it's he gets the plan together. What does it take to get the plan together? Well, he needs to get all the information, so that's one section of the chapter. He needs to talk with his people. That's another section of the chapter. And then he needs to come up with the brilliant idea and go, okay, we'll go for that. That's the next part of the chapter. So that's all one part. And you'll see it in your own high school essay writing. Subpoint 1, subpoint 2, subpoint 3. It's hard to go from blah, the blah, the blah, the blah, and try to make it gripping and amazing. But you can do it with these building blocks. So give your high school lit teacher a little bit of credit. What they taught you, you can definitely use. Now, I also find this is very helpful in talking and giving speeches. Say one thing per sentence. Now, in a full sentence, you don't necessarily have time to break down idea. But say one thing per sentence, especially when you have to give a speech off the cuff. I was watching someone yesterday try to record a video, and he kept catching himself saying "you guys" all the time, and political correctness that wastes time aside, I thought to myself, if he got practice saying just one thing per sentence, he could more easily monitor everything that's coming out of his mouth. So that he doesn't start every single sentence with, hey guys, okay, we're going to do this, okay, right guys? Oh, I love you guys. And have to worry about censoring himself all the time. Now, this has been a helpful tool in my own struggles. I find myself, you'll probably notice, sharing topic and topic and topic and subject and subject and subject in a single sentence. It gets lost. It gets confusing. Slow down and say to yourself, I'm going to say one thing, period. One more thing, period. One more thing, period. And be done. And this saves me a lot of time, especially when I'm at Bible studies and I'm getting huge ideas even as I'm talking about them. I have to stop, decide what this sentence is going to be the same as writing a book. It gives you focus. And when you have that focus, that is a powerful tool that will go everywhere in your life. When you say, I'm only doing one thing at a time, I'm only saying one thing in this sentence, I'm only doing one chore during this period of time, I'm working on one dish on the oven, I am reading one book, do one thing at a time. And this is a powerful productivity technique. People think, oh, I'm not going to get a ton of things done unless I'm multitasking. No, 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 no. You're going to get far more done because you're focusing on one thing at a time. So this works for your life. This works for writing a book. This works for giving a speech. It's a powerful technique. One thing at a time, and subpoints very limited. You'll find that this focuses your work quite a bit more, and it even makes it easier to write. You can do entire chapter outlines just saying, what's the one thing that's going to happen in this chapter? What's the one thing that's going to happen in this book? What's the one thing that's going to happen to make these things happen? This is Chris Schallert, Idea Engine, signing off, encouraging you to go make something new with something old.